All right, so let's get the show on the road. We have today George Santos, who I believe was just sworn in yesterday.
No, he can't get sworn in until they fix this speaker situation. None of them can. Yeah, speaker's the only thing on the docket right now. Cannot go forward without it, regardless how long it takes.
That's amazing, and I'll tell you why right on the other end of this. Okay, here's why now. If they can't swear him in, that means that they're not part of his fraud at this point.
No, because he is voting. He is a member of Congress. He just hasn't been sworn in yet. So, I mean, he doesn't have security clearance and things like that yet, but he is able to vote. His vote does count. So he is a member of Congress.
Okay, so let's approach that for a second.
Otherwise, his vote wouldn't count.
If he is a member of Congress, if his vote does count, if he has all the privileges except being sworn in, how does this newest development affect him and his political career? And here's the newest development. Apparently, I was correct when I stated last week that he had fled Brazil to avoid arrest for charges of money fraud.
Fraud, check fraud, I believe, something like that. Yeah.
Now, they had stopped the investigation
until his head popped up
because they didn't know where he was. And now that he was elected to Congress, they found him. Now they're restarting. Now they're reinitiating the charges.
And they're working with the State Department, I believe.
So if he gets sworn in, can he also still be extradited to Brazil to face charges?
It's a good question because we do have extradition with Brazil. So because he's an active member of Congress, I would think he's going to have to answer to that in some form or another. I doubt he will go there, but something's going to transpire. Apparently he has a lawyer involved in that situation right now.
Well,
at least what I heard a bit ago.
Here's the story with the lawyer. He hired a lawyer here to hire a local lawyer there to represent him.
Makes sense, I suppose.
Because according to the information, he took the checkbook from this person that this elderly person his mother was caring for. In order to buy himself shoes.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
This guy's a winner. But if you notice too, man, no one's talking to him. He's all by himself.
Because he's rich, right? He owns 13 buildings. And he owns 13 buildings and lives with his sister. His mother, who was an executive in the World Trade Center when it collapsed, all that anyone who has known the family remembers her as a cook and cleaner for other people in their houses.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's not, but that's a far fall from an executive.
Apparently he thinks there's something wrong with it because he didn't feel like sharing that.
It's a far step from that to an executive in the Twin Towers.
Yeah. Something will happen. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen as far as the extradition goes.
Well, see, here's my question.
But there's a good chance we might have a Democratic speaker.
If they charge Santos in Brazil with this crime and he is found guilty, even if they just put him on probation, does that affect his political role in the United States? Will his seat need to be vacated?
My instincts would say no. I don't think his record from another country, it may not count here.
So you could be an international criminal
No, I there are levels of that, but I don't think check fraud,
And then
for the
fleeing
amount of
the
money he
country.
made, like I said, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's not a big
Wait, what do you mean
crime.
with the amount of money he made? He was making nothing at the time.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. How big was that check for? $50, $100, $1,000, maybe at the most. I don't know how much the check was for.
I don't know.
I guess that would matter. Still.
I would have to say that if it's that small of an amount, whether his head showed up or not, they wouldn't be pursuing it. It has to be something significant for them to cross country lines,
Right.
continents, to go after this guy.
Well, maybe they're pissed that he went as far as being a congressman to try to get away with his crime.
I mean, they're going to be spending
Taking a page out of Trump's playbook.
they're going to be spending so much money just to get him to face trial that unless it's for a significant amount,
I don't
it's
know
not
about
worth
that. I think that if there is going to be such a thing as a trial, if they're going to allow it to get that far, it's just a matter of a few phone calls with the State Department. Now this is diplomatic. This is very, very different. It's a whole set of the rules change.
right? But who pays
know?
for the travel for him to be brought down there?
It's a good question. If he's a sitting congressman, I would imagine we do.
I would imagine it would be the country that's asking for his extradition.
I don't
Because
know
the
how that
crime-
works. I don't have much of a
Because
comment
I
on
mean,
that.
to me, if the crime was committed there and they want him there and they want him transported there, they should be the
They
one
pay
paying.
for the extradition, maybe.
That would make sense to me. And if that's the case, that alone is more than a couple $100 for shoes.
I suppose.
And then they have to go through with whatever proceedings and procedures they're going to go through with.
Right.
It just doesn't seem to me to be worth it for a couple $100. It has to be more to it than that.
And it also may depend too who actually gets the speaker spot. I don't know how much they can't go deadlocked forever. I mean, I'm still looking into trying to research what the steps are.
From what
And
I
what I'm trying to
understand.
find out is there's a very good chance that Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat, will become the Speaker of the House as a
how-
minority.
How many did he get?
212. He's got the most votes so far.
He
The
needs
entire Democrats are standing behind him. Yeah, as they should.
two. Right.
And
but
that's
he
what I mean.
needs-
I've been hearing that in NBC, CBS, NBC,
Right, I
all
understand
those
that.
guys.
But he's going to need the rest to make the 218.
No. I don't think he's going to need to get to 218. But I don't know. That would mean that some Republicans are going to have to jump ship
Well, what
and bring
do-
his
what-
number
what-
up to 218.
Well, if you don't think he's going to need to get to 218, and he got to 212,
He's still winning.
why do they have to do it again if he already won?
That's what I mean. I don't know enough of the procedures myself to be able to answer that question.
I mean,
But the
I know
assumptions
that at
make
one
is
point,
there's a deadlock. There's a only so much time you can do this for. You can't hold the government hostage forever.
well, I know that at one point they held 9 votes, not this time, but in the
9
past,
ballots. That's what that's called, a ballot.
in the past. Now,
Mhm.
if he got more votes than McCarthy on this third vote that they
Mhm.
just did, he should have won unless it has to be a majority.
Well, I know
which is,
back in
which is the
1920,
218.
they did it for 3 days. And the
Right.
guy finally got enough votes. He did, he negotiated enough, and the person who was originally nominated and really wanted, like McCarthy, for example, he was able to work deals and continue the process.
Well, see,
But if they're deadlocked, because you have people that are emphatically saying they are not going to budge on either side, they're not going to let these 5 people hold them hostage, or now it's looking like 20 people. They're not going to let the minority hold the majority hostage. Boy, that sounds really familiar, doesn't it? Just
well,
saying.
now here's the thing: if it took all that time, the 3 days,
Mhm.
for him to get enough votes, that means that they have a set number in mind to reach in order to become the speaker.
Well, maybe it is a 218. Maybe if there's enough people getting all mad, and they throw their vote, their 218 vote, onto Jeffries, maybe that's how it ends.
Now, the only
Because
way
the
I can
talk is
see
right
that,
now is these guys are willing to these Republicans are willing to let a Democrat take over instead of giving them their way. That's what I've heard so far.
From what I've seen,
Yeah, maybe you're right. That makes sense.
From what I've seen, the only way for that to work is if somehow the third candidate is removed from the equation.
Jim Jordan, yeah. But as long as these guys continue to nominate him, Jim Jordan is not voting for himself. He's voting for McCarthy.
I noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why?
He does not want the position. He told people not to vote for him. So they picked him to throw their vote away on.
But
that's pretty funny.
If they nominate him, can't he withdraw?
No.
I mean,
I guess not, because there's been 2 votes with his name on it. So,
well, I suppose there is a way
to get
Biggs. I suppose there is a way to get him them to stop nominating him. The next vote, him instead of voting for McCarthy, he votes for Jeffries, and they'll be like, "Okay, this guy's an asshole. We're going to get rid of him."
Well, what I think is going to happen, because what you're saying is beginning to make a little bit more sense to me. Maybe that is what's going to happen. Because all you need is 6 Republicans.
Yeah.
Out of all the 222, I think that they have.
Right.
6 to switch, just to end it. And then he's the one who does all the committee assignments and da 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 da. And you know what? You're not going to have this crazy batshit nuts going on. And that's really what we need. Maybe that's what they're thinking. And they need to. If you think about it, that would be a good strategy. They know they can't. I'm not talking about McCarthy, but a few people, let's say. I don't know who they would be. But let's just say there's a few people that actually have a brain. And they have to make this deadlock act like a real deadlock. Because 6 of them are going to have to flip to get the deadlock over. Because Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, Biggs, and a couple other people, whatever, are diehard. They are not going to, even if they get those 20 votes, there's still 5 people that will not vote for McCarthy, period. And that's what this is all about. So maybe what I'm trying to say is if they save enough face and they make it look bad enough and we're not getting nothing done and whatever, then 6 people will just vote for the Dems to get it done. I could see that happening. Okay, so let's use a scenario for a minute and look at both sides of the coin. If the Republicans win Speaker, keep going. Yeah, would they cooperate with the extradition request for Brazil? And if the Democrats win Speaker, would they, cooperate with the request from Brazil? That's a good question. I would hope so, but then again, my wife likes to say I live in a rose-colored world. Because here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the Republicans are the good old boy system, and they think what he's doing is funny. Right. So they would probably never go along with it. But yet the Democrats are the actual branch of law and order and morals, and they would probably go along with Brazil's request, in which turn it would make the Republicans say that they're scapegoating this guy because he's a Republican, not because of what he did. But also you got to think of Brazil too. You don't know how bad they want this guy. It might become a point of contention, and if they push hard enough and whatever, they say, well, screw you, we want this, and we're not gonna send you whatever it is that they send us. Commodity wise, I really don't know what they I'm sure we get a lot of produce from them for sure. Anyway, but there's stuff that they can say, well, we're not going to send this to you, or we're going to do this, whatever. They can put pressure. Sure, they can put pressure on our government to extradite Santos. And they may be forced into a diplomatic situation that they have no choice but to do something like that. Because it creates an incident. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't return to his seat after he satisfies that judiciary problem down there. You know, who knows? They might just take care of it over the phone. Maybe he's not allowed to go back to Brazil ever again, you know? So, yeah, who knows? I hope it's... He needs to have something happen to him. He can't... And everybody else needs to realize that... Come on. You know, really?
Okay, so
and they're just pissed because he got caught.
Here's what I learned. His former boyfriend that he lived with knew nothing about this affair in Brazil. When he found out about the events in Brazil, and Santos admitted to it, he was like, "Yeah, I can't live with someone like that. I'm out. Packed this shit and left."
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Now, I don't know if it was a roommate or if it was a boyfriend, whatever you want to call him. But once he found out what kind of a shitheel Santos was, he was like, "Yeah, that's too much for me. I'm out of here." So it's a real deal. This whole thing with Brazil is not a speculation. This is an actual fact.
Oh yeah, no, the governments have been talking. Yes, for sure, it's real. Definitely. One thing in his life so far is real. He is a criminal.
which is funny because when he came out in response to all these I believe it was New York Times article, one of the main things he said at the end was, "I've never committed a crime. I'm not a criminal. You know, I'm just here." And now
he lied again.
Out he had committed a crime and he is a criminal. Not only that, but he's an international criminal because he committed it in another country and fled here.
A country in which he was a member of. He was a member of that country. You're right. That's pretty, he should not. There's moral and ethical reasons why he needs to be removed from office. Let's set aside the criminal.
Well, see, that's my last question before we go, is knowing what we know now about him, is it too late for the Federal Ethics Committee to step in and
already
say
are.
It needs to be removed if they find that?
He's under an ethics investigation right now, state. He's under an election investigation.
For the money.
Whatever. And then he's got another state entity that is investigating him, perhaps for the whole thing. And then he's got 2 federal investigations too.
See, what
I
happened?
don't know what they are, but they have to do with his election.
What happened is he claimed that he donated $750,000 to his campaign, but no one can figure out where the money came from.
Right.
And so now there's an investigation to see if the money came from donations, and he just put it in his name so as not to report it as donations because it was too big.
And he did something else. He was spending a lot of $199 money, so he would be $1 less than the amount required to produce a receipt to the election committee or whatever they're called. So that was quite suspicious too, because he had all kinds of $199 transactions. So that raised a flag.
I almost titled this video something different, but I felt that I would be aging myself. I was going to title it "The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, a Politician Story." But then I could guarantee a lot of people will be going, "Walter Mitty? Who's Walter Mitty? What's that all about?" So I opted not to.
Oh, good. I'm one of them. I've never heard of that before either, so
I'll explain it to you off the air.
Okay.
It's real simple. And in order to get off the air, we're going to say goodbye now.
Say goodbye.
I would love to. I am saying bye-bye.
Yeah.
Hello. Goodbye. See you in the future and in the past. And I'm gone. Oh, my fingers don't work. That's weird. It says it's actually running, but it's not. There we go.